Hello there, friends. Today is March 20th, 2024, and today we're taking a look at this CJ Stroud rookie card. It's the 2023 Donruss rated rookie card number 339. We're going to address its value in a raw state, a PSA 9, as well as a PSA 10 when comparing them to 15 recent comps taken off of eBay. We'll also establish first offer, second offer, final offer, and I'll let you know what I would be willing to sell one of these cards for as well. So let's get into it. On the right-hand side, you see our 15 recent comps, all of these taken from eBay auctions. I only do auctions, no buy it now, no best offers, because I like to see that back and forth between bidders. As far as the graph is concerned, we do have sort of an outlier here, $4.25 with a massive $5.35 shipping fee. That is obviously going to be our low, but as far as on average, these cards are relatively consistent between $7 and $10 or so. This low one, obviously, you have to take in consideration quality of the card, which means that I have to say one more piece of vital information. The numbers that you are going to be given in these videos, I would recommend using them in person at a card show, at a card shop, so that you can see the quality of the card in person. I want you to make sure that those corners are sharp, the centering's on point, the edges are straight, just because obviously that's what we're trying to hunt down, the best looking cards. And online, it can be hard to find those as far as perfect pictures are concerned. For these numbers that we see here, top right corner has our PSA submissions. 6,644 have been submitted. 3,386 have come back at a PSA 10 grade. That's a 51% return rate for a PSA 10. I was actually surprised that there were that many cards submitted thus far, especially given the price point at $8.03 for an average bid price. But, I mean, it makes sense. People really want to make sure that their Strouds are taken care of and get the best. So let's talk about this 803 again. So this is the average bid price paid in order to win one of these auctions. Next to it, you've got 210. That's the average shipping cost for an all-in price at $10.12. So that's what gets it delivered to your front door, $10.12. I don't consider either of these numbers to be fair market value because it doesn't take into consideration that sellers have fees that have to come right off the top. So that usually amounts to about 13 to 15%, which is actually what this number is. So this is the blue number, subtracting the fees, you get $6.66 as fair market value. I know, scary number, right? Anyways, as far as what I'm offering for the card, I use a stoplight template here, 70, 75, and 80% price points on my first, second, final offers. First offer in the green, $5.62 is 70% of this blue number. 602 is going to be 75%, and 642 is going to be 80%. Let's take a look at what gets us into the bottom third of sales, because I also like to compare that as well. We're going to go down sort ascending and then drop down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $6.21 gets me into the bottom third of sales. This is just a little bit lower than the 80%. In fact, it falls right between 75 and 80%, almost exactly. So that $6.21 now becomes my new final offer. I will not be spending more than this on this card, especially when I'm trying to get it in person. If I want to sell at the top third of the market, I go down to the bottom and go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 709 would net me about an 80-cent profit. That equates to an $8.52 buy it now or first offer. All right. Does that make sense? Pretty straightforward for our raw card. Let's take a look at what the PSA 9 is getting us these days. Generally looks like a little bit of a lower trend on this card. Obviously, we do have 1950 as a low, 3352 as a high. Again, a sort of a tighter range for these cards. And that's important because, well, you have it graded, right? People aren't looking for that perfect card now. They already have it set in a slab. They already know it's a 9. So these bids stay tighter as they sell. And I should also mention, these have all happened within the course of 2 days. So that downward trend, I don't really take too much consideration of it when it only happens within 2 days. If it happens over 2 months, that's something to look at. But 2 days, it could just be the market for the day. All right, down below here, we've got a $24.84 average bid price, $21.24 average take home for sellers, and $17.38 is going to be my first offer. If I want to get into the bottom third of sales, let's sort ascending. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $19.22 again falls between the yellow and the red. That is my new final offer. If I have to go up that high, I will. I prefer to be a little bit lower than that on this card. And then in order to get in the top third of sales, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're looking at $22.73 or a $26.55 buy it now to net about $3 in profit. Most importantly, what you need to consider for this card is that all of these cards lost money. That's right. If we go back to our raw state here, on average, sellers $6.66, and then for the PSA 9, $21.24. So basically less than $15 more for a PSA 9, but these sellers are spending money to get these cards graded. And yes, there's cheaper options, $15 options out there, but your card's going to be stuck in limbo for a long time, and then you also have shipping on top of that to consider. So basically, by getting these cards graded, these people lost money, right? Straightforward. That's the game you play. And in order for that to be worthwhile, that 50% return rate has to give us a few extra PSA 10s. Okay, so let's take a look and see what the PSA 10s are worth to see if it's worth grading. Again, an even tighter frame of reference here. A lot of them in that low 70s, a few outliers, 89 and 91. But yes, look how tight this graph is. Let's look down below. Blue is average bid price $75.05. Average take home for sellers $64.81, and then first offer for me is $52.54. Let's sort this one ascending. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So $62.16. So this is what happens when you have that tight of a graph, right? So when you have that tight of a graph, you are more than likely going to be going above that 80% offer. In this case, I am sticking tight at my $60.04 offer. If I see it in person, I think I can still pull that off. I know these numbers tell you otherwise, but I think you can find somebody who wants to move their product and will give it to you at that price point. If not, there's plenty of them out there. Obviously, there's 3,386 of them and more still coming into the pipeline. So take that into consideration as well. Now, these numbers tell me a very important thing. For me, and the way that I like to conduct business, getting this CJ Stroud rookie card graded from a raw state to a PSA 10 is not worth it. I would not be getting this card graded just because I don't think that return on value is there. I'm going to be spending money to get it graded. Half of them aren't going to be coming back as a PSA 10, and then you still have your raw cost associated with this as well that you have to take into consideration. So say for every 2 cards you get graded, one of them comes back a 10. So that's about $13 worth of cards. You probably have I would say between $30 and $60 worth of grading, and you're really not going to be getting, with that shipping fees that are going to be included in all that, you're really not going to be getting a bang for your buck, especially when the cheaper options, your cards are in limbo for a long time, which means that's money that you can't keep in the game, trading back and forth, acquiring new cards, and hopefully building your collection. So if it were me, I'd be happy to have a raw card. I would actually purchase probably one of these PSA 9s or PSA 10s outright before I would get a card graded, if that makes any sense. All right? So that's what I think the valuation of this card is. We're talking $6.66 fair market value for a raw, $21.24 fair market value for a PSA 10, and $64.81 fair market value for your PSA 10. All right? Hopefully these numbers helped you out, and if they did, please let me know down below.